Hi, friends. How y'all doing? Everyone eat their corn muffins, have their coffee? All right. So my presentation is called Good Morning BU 2.0, Navigating Live Television. My professor is Mr. Cavallari, and he is here today. Thank you, Cav. Coach Cav. All right, so why this project? So as you all know, I am a broadcast journalism student. Coming into my junior year, I kind of realized that I loved journalism, but I had absolutely no idea where I wanted to go with it because I loved everything so much, oddly enough. And I had this wonderful opportunity with the show I was involved in to kind of explore my different options. So I took my entire junior year where I was directing the show and my entire senior year where I was anchoring the show. And I really wanted to decide, what do I want to do with the future? Do I want to be behind the camera or do I want to be in front of the camera? So I really use this as an opportunity for self-exploration to figure out what is my future career going to be. So I really utilize Good Morning BU to better understand my strengths, weaknesses, and preferences in broadcast journalism. So what is Good Morning BU? I know you're all tuning in Friday mornings at 10 a.m., but I'll just give you a little brief update anyway. So Good Morning BU is BU TV 10's only live show. We go live every Friday morning at 10 a.m. It's about 3 years old now, so it's still super in its infancy. And the first 2 years really were about simply getting a live show off its feet, having something that we could put on television every Friday morning and technically put it out there and make it run. So this third year, it was like, let's try to do a little bit more. And I had this wonderful opportunity where I started as a sophomore, worked my way up through lighting and stage managing and being a camera person to the point where I got the chance to produce this show. And through producing, I was able to direct and then anchor this year. So I said, let me break down kind of these two different worlds and see which I like more. And in doing that, I really wanted to say, let me take these 2 years to focus as much as I can and to master these two different areas as much as I could at the school or education level to see what I wanted to do in the future. And in the process of that, I said, all right, in this time of self-exploration, let's take these two different sides of it, the technical and the content side of broadcast journalism, and let's try to see what I can do in mastering these two different worlds to improve the show we already have. So in the process of learning about these two different roles, how can I improve the structure we're already working with and in? So I started my junior year as the director of the show. So I was directing the live 30-minute production every week, which is absolutely amazing. So I decided to kind of focus my updates for GMBU on the technical side of things. Here's just a few photos of our show. So the first thing we wanted to do is we have one set for the show, and you can see it right there. That's the main set. And we really wanted to say, all right, how can we make this technically more interesting, vary up our shots? So we decided to build a side set. So my professor and I kind of designed everything and looked through the different options for how we can utilize the space in the studio a little bit more. And I can't say enough about what a side set kind of does for the production and does for our options within the production. Now, not only did we have 3 different shots on our main set, but we could turn the camera around and go to the second set and just really vary up what we were showing people. The second thing I really wanted to look at were graphics. Our graphics were super old in the beginning. They changed a little bit every semester. We had really generic graphics, and then we had some custom graphics, but they were very simplistic. So as how can we kind of bump this next level up in our graphics? And you can kind of see it's not just the Chiron or the name bar at the bottom of the screen. It's also the back screen, the Good Morning View graphic there. We just wanted to update things a little bit, give it a new kind of look that we can keep consistent throughout the entire show. The next thing I wanted to do technically was kind of help the different levels of production. So the show's broken into 4 different blocks. The A block is news, B block is sports, C is a live interview, and the D block is our entertainment section. And in the entertainment section, we try to do different movie picks and things like that. And generally, when you're talking about movies, you want to show trailer footage. A great way to show trailer footage is, if you don't have access to it, is to sign up for EPK, which allows communication-related organizations to get all this exclusive content. So we made an account with them. We got all this super cool content that we were able to use for different projects, and I'll talk about these a lot later. One of my favorite technical elements that we were able to update was using a live cam. So if you've watched the news, you know they use the live cam all the time. We don't have all those resources, but we do have a live cam. We were able to use it in the coolest way possible, I think, which is for weather. People love the weather. I'm starting to learn. So we used the live cam. We had a young woman last semester who actually wanted to be a meteorologist. So we were able to incorporate it in this really cool way where she wanted to talk about the weather and understood what she was saying. We would send her to someplace on campus, and we would go live from there, and we would cut into that during the show, which is super tricky, but we were able to do it, and it just made the show so much more authentically professional and added this awesome visual element. The next thing we added, which might sound super simplistic, for me as a director and then as an anchor, it helps so much, is include IFBs. You can kind of see it in her ear. It's just the little device that you use to hear between the anchors in the studio and the director in the control room, just for giving cues, for kind of keeping the conversation up to date. Having that little device where you're not going through an intermediary, which is the stage manager, is just so incredibly helpful. Think if you're giving an interview and you don't know how much time you have left, the director's saying you have 2 minutes, the stage manager is trying to cue you on the side. If you're not looking at it, or if they're just like taking a break, you just keep going, and that's a problem. So the IFBs are great. The next thing I wanted to do, so after I kind of looked at the world of directing, updated these different technical elements, was going into the content side of things. So this year I've been a host of the show, and the first thing I wanted to do was increase the number of on-air positions we had. Everyone comes to the show and says, I want to be on camera, and it's like, have you done anything live before? Well, no. Have you reported on anything before? Well, no. And you say, all right, how can we kind of teach you these different skills? So we added some of these smaller positions on the side set, which has a teleprompter at all times, so you're never going off camera or off teleprompter. And we just kind of varied the shots so that more people could have opportunities, but so our A block and our news block would have a little bit more of a flow to it. The first thing we added was this headlines reporter. So the show is really focused on BU and Boston news, but I personally love national and international news. I wanted a way to incorporate the big stories every week. If we're journalists and the Panama Papers just came out, I think we should be talking about it, even if it's not Boston specific. So we added this top headlines producer or reporter who can talk about some of the national, international stories. We also added, and Caitlin's in the audience, Trail Mix, which is a political package. So it's obviously an election year. We were talking about it every week. Why not talk about it in a way that we can keep consistent, really clean, really tight, and hit Trail Mix, which is the name of the political package, every single week. Next was we added a movie section, so that's just another different element that we can have for the A block, or sorry, for the entertainment block. The next thing we did, so I kind of, also, we want to remember at the end of the day, this was about me figuring out, hey, what do you want to do? So I also kind of challenged myself to get out there a little bit more and be creating original content to be bringing to the show, but also to be creating a reporter's reel, which is kind of my resume going out into the world saying, if I want to be a reporter, I need to have this. So I use GMBU and the different resources that BU TV tend to create, and I'll just show you a little bit of this. If it wants to play. If it doesn't, that's totally cool also. We're here tonight at the premiere of Spotlight, the true story of 4 investigative journalists who broke one of the biggest stories in the Boston Globe's history. In one of the most Catholic cities in America, priests were sexually abusing children and getting away with it. But before going for that principal position, Wayne will be working as a camp counselor in Austria this summer, teaching English to international students. For BU TV 10, I'm Courtney Sonn. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. So Nicholas Sparks has spoken a lot about this story. A 19-year-old Quincy native has become the youngest person to ever be elected to office. Everyone is out of the building and the fire trucks are just starting to leave now, as you can see behind me. It was confirmed to be a 3-alarm fire. No one is as yet let back into the building, so we'll keep you posted on what happens. And speaking of cuts, the MBTA making some more, this time getting rid of late night services. To watch. So you can kind of see a little bit of, that's happening, of what I was trying to do. So at the end of the day, I not only came out of this with all my understanding technically and content-wise, but I had a real product that I could take from this and show future employers. The second end product was taking all the content and technical elements that we improved upon and creating a couple awesome episodes that really showcase these different elements, that really showcased an improved structure of content, original content, but also all the different technical aspects that we were working on. And you can see any of these episodes online. The second kind of component of my project was going through and just trying to improve the show, trying to improve my own understanding of broadcast journalism. We came to a few key issues that GMBU was experiencing. The biggest was recruiting and training. GMBU has an extremely quick turnaround because we are one of the only shows that really incorporates grad students at BU. We have a great grad broadcast journalism program. The problem is they graduate in 3 semesters. So you train them, you put them on the show, and all of a sudden they're gone. And you're like, where did everything go? So you're constantly recruiting and training new people. And the undergrads do take a little bit more time time just to get up to speed. I didn't know that this is what I wanted to be doing my first semester freshman year. So just getting them involved, by the time you train them, everyone's out the door. So we really wanted to work on recruitment and training. I originally thought I was going to make a training video trying to, how do you work in the studio? But my advisor and I quickly realized there were a million different training videos online for the different technical things, and it was never going to be as comprehensive as what's already out there. So I wanted to make something that was super specific to my show, to our show. So what I made was a 5-minute informational video on Good Morning BU, and I'll just show you the very top of it. And what it did, it not only helped to kind of hopefully help with recruiting, help with training by teaching people what do you want to do in GMBU. Now you have a little bit more of an idea, but it also allowed me to test. I wrote the script, I filmed the script, I did the interviews, I edited the final package. So it was also testing all my skills, which is really important. And again, we'll just give this a quick second. And if it doesn't want to, that's also cool. We'll come back to it. So what do I know now at the end of the day? You can't see that, that's fine. So at the end of the day, I took this whole experience. Not only do I feel so much more confident about where GMBU is and kind of leaving my child behind as I graduate, I also feel really like I have a newfound understanding of broadcast journalism and what I want to do in it. And I want to be a content producer. And I have a job offer for a content producer. And thank you. And so much of it is because of this show, my self-exploration within this show. I tried directing, I loved it, and it was like this, but this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. I tried anchoring, and it was awesome, but I was like, I also don't really see this being the future. But getting to do each side of those really helped me to bring them together and say, this is where the future is for me. So thank you guys so much. Special thanks to all my friends, to family. You guys, you're great. So thank you.